right, settle in, grab your questionable budget coffee, and let's dive headfirst into the beautiful, terrifying, and sometimes downright hilarious world of money stress in 2025. But with a twist. We're not just gonna stew in it. We're gonna tackle it like philosophical ninjas using ancient wisdom. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to your new favorite corner of the internet, where we try to make sense of this wild ride called life, often with a healthy dose of ancient wisdom, and maybe a few dad jokes. So, let's be real for a sec. It's 2025. Remember when we thought flying cars would be the big thing? Nope. Turns out, the big thing is figuring out how to pay for regular cars, plus gas, plus groceries that cost more than your first apartment, and trying to save for a future that feels, well, let's just say, financially atmospheric. I mean, raise your hand or just nod awkwardly at your screen if you've ever felt that little knot of anxiety in your stomach when you check your bank balance. Or maybe it's not little. Maybe it's a full-blown cage match in your gut kind of anxiety. Yeah, you're not alone. Statistics for 2025 are screaming that financial anxiety is basically the new common cold, only way harder to cure with chicken soup. Inflation's doing its thing, the economy's doing whatever that is, and social media is constantly reminding us that Brenda from high school just bought a yacht made of solid gold and envy. Keeping up with the Joneses isn't just hard, it feels like they've installed a hyperloop and you're still on roller skates. And this stress isn't just about the numbers in your bank account, right? It seeps into everything. It's the reason you snap at your partner, the reason you can't sleep, the reason that perfectly good dinner you planned turned into ordering pizza for the third time this week because you're just too mentally fried. It's a sneaky thief of joy and a master manipulator of your well-being. So, what do? Panic? Move into a yurt? Start a questionable pyramid scheme? Nah, we grab something ancient, something tested, something that looks at all this chaos and says, "Hold my olive oil." We're talking about Stoicism. Now, before you picture a bunch of old dudes in robes just sitting around frowning, which, okay, some probably did. Stoicism is actually a seriously practical philosophy. It's not about suppressing your emotions or becoming some kind of unfeeling robot. It's about building inner strength, focusing on what you can control, and finding peace even when the world outside is doing a full-on financial samba on your last nerve. It offers a toolkit for navigating the choppy waters of modern financial life without losing your mind. And honestly, in 2025, we need that toolkit more than ever. So, stick around because we're about to unpack how these ancient ideas can totally level up your financial game and, more importantly, calm that money monster lurking in your brain. Let's do this. The reality of financial stress in 2025. Deeper dive. Okay, let's lean into this a bit more because acknowledging the beast is the first step, right? We talked about the stats, the inflation, the Joneses. But let's get granular. Think about your typical Tuesday. You wake up, maybe doom scroll the news, and see gas prices are doing their best impression of a SpaceX launch. You check your phone, maybe an alert pops up from your banking app, or worse, a targeted ad for something you definitely can't afford but now suddenly desperately want. You get to work, and the water cooler talk is all about layoffs, or how expensive everything is. Or that coworker who just got a promotion and is suddenly driving a car that costs more than your house. It's like a constant drip feed of financial anxiety throughout the day. And then you get home, try to relax, maybe open a bill. Bam! Reality check. Suddenly that little knot is back, tighter than a budget airline seatbelt. This isn't just about being a little worried. It's a real psychological burden. Chronic financial stress has been linked to everything from actual physical pain, like headaches and back pain, to serious mental health issues like depression and anxiety disorders. It messes with your sleep, makes you irritable, and can put a huge strain on your relationships. How can you be present and loving with your family when half your brain is doing frantic calculations about how many more hours you need to work just to cover the electric bill? And the keeping up pressure in 2025? Man, it's intense. It's not just cars and houses anymore. It's the perfect vacation photos on Instagram, the latest tech gadgets, the subscription boxes that promise to make your life magically better, but mostly just add another line item to your credit card statement. We're bombarded with messages telling us that happiness and success are directly proportional to how much stuff we own or how luxurious our experiences look online. It's a trap, and our brains, bless them, are kinda wired to fall for it. We see others, we compare, and if we feel like we're falling short, the stress kicks in. It's evolutionary, sure, but in the age of instant digital comparison, it's amplified to 11. We internalize this stuff, right? We start telling ourselves stories. I'm not making enough. I'll never get ahead. I must be doing something wrong. These stories become part of our identity, and they fuel that anxiety cycle. It's exhausting. So, yeah, the reality of financial stress in 2025 is a heavy one. It's complex, it's pervasive, and it feels like it's constantly morphing into new, more expensive forms. But here's where Stoicism steps in, not with a magic wand, but with something way more powerful, a different way of seeing and responding to all of this. Instead of being tossed around like a tiny raft in a financial hurricane, Stoicism teaches you how to build a sturdier ship, one that can weather the storm because it's focused on what truly matters and what you actually have control over. It's not about denying the difficulty, it's about finding strength and calm within it. So, now that we've had a good long stare at the financial stress monster, let's arm ourselves with some seriously cool ancient weapons. The core principles of Stoicism. Stoic principles for financial serenity, your ancient toolkit. All right, let's talk principles. These aren't abstract, dusty ideas. Think of them as mental upgrades, tools you can actually use right now. Principle 1. Focus on what you control, the dichotomy of control. This is probably the most fundamental Stoic idea, and it's gold for financial stress. The Stoics had this concept called the dichotomy of control. Basically, they divided everything in the universe into two buckets: things you can control and things you cannot control. Simple, right? But profound. When it comes to money, what's in the cannot control bucket? Oh, a lot. The stock market. Nope, unless you're a time-traveling billionaire with a crystal ball. Government policies on interest rates. Not unless you're secretly the head of the central bank. Your boss's decision about raises or layoffs? Probably not unless you are the boss, and even then, market conditions can bite you. Inflation, economic recessions, global supply chain weirdness, all firmly in the cannot control bucket. Now, what's in the can control bucket? This is where the magic happens. You can control how much you spend. You can control how much you try to save, within your means, of course. You can control your education and skills to potentially earn more. You can control how you react to the things you can't control. You can control your effort, your discipline, your financial education. Think about it. How much energy do you waste worrying about the stock market crashing? Hours, days. Does that worrying prevent it from crashing? Absolutely not. Does that worrying make you feel better? Heck no. It just drains your energy and makes you miserable. A Stoic approach says, okay, the market might crash. That's outside my control. But I can control if I have an emergency fund. I can control if I'm investing for the long term based on principles, not panic. I can control learning more about diversification. Applied to daily finances, this means less stressing about things like, oh no, my neighbor just got a new car. How will I ever keep up? And more focusing on, okay, what are my financial goals? Am I sticking to my plan? What can I do today to improve my situation? It shifts your energy from pointless fretting about external forces to empowered action on the things you can actually influence. It's incredibly liberating when you stop trying to wrestle with the market or economic trends, things that are way bigger than you, and start focusing on your own habits and decisions. You regain a sense of agency. You're no longer a passive victim of financial circumstances. You're an active participant in building your own financial stability, one choice at a time. This principle alone can slash like 80% of your financial worry right off the bat. Seriously, try it. The next time you feel stressed about money, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If yes, what action can I take? If no, why am I spending energy worrying about it? It's a game changer. Principle 2. Embrace acceptance and gratitude. This one might sound a bit counterintuitive when you're struggling. Acceptance? You want me to just accept that my bank account is looking sad? Well, yes, kinda. But hear me out. Stoic acceptance isn't about giving up or saying, this is fine while everything burns. It's about acknowledging reality as it is, without sugarcoating or resisting it. Resisting reality is like trying to swim upstream in a financial flood. It's exhausting and ineffective. If your financial situation isn't great right now, pretending it is, or constantly complaining about how unfair it is, doesn't change the numbers. Acceptance is simply saying, okay, this is my starting point. Now, what can I do from here? It's the opposite of living in denial or constantly wishing things were different without taking action. Acceptance is the solid ground from which you can actually start building a better financial future. It allows you to see your situation clearly, without the fog of wishful thinking or bitter resentment. And hand in hand with acceptance is gratitude. Now you might be thinking, gratitude? For what? My pile of bills? Again, hear me out. Gratitude from a Stoic perspective isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about actively appreciating what you do have, rather than fixating on what you lack. In the context of money, this could mean being grateful for the roof over your head, even if it's rented. Grateful for the food on your table, even if it's budget pasta again. Grateful for your health, your relationships, your ability to work, the free parks you can visit, the library books you can borrow. Why is this helpful for financial stress? Because focusing on what you lack fuels discontent and the urge to consume. When you feel like you don't have enough, you're more likely to try and fill that void by buying things you don't need, which just exacerbates your financial problems. Gratitude shifts your focus. It reminds you of the abundance that already exists in your life, much of which is priceless and can't be bought. It helps you break free from the more treadmill that often drives financial anxiety. Try this. Every day, name 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. Don't make them all about money. Maybe it's the sunshine, a funny meme your friend sent, the fact that your car started this morning. This simple practice can significantly change your perspective and reduce the feeling of scarcity that often accompanies financial stress. It's not magic, but it rewires your brain to appreciate the present, which is a huge step towards financial and emotional peace. It helps you realize that your well-being isn't solely dependent on your net worth. Principle 3. Practice mindfulness and detachment. Mindfulness. You hear this word everywhere now, right? In Stoicism, it's about paying attention to your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, especially around money. Are you mindlessly scrolling online stores and filling up carts you never intend to check out, just for the dopamine hit? Are you eating out because you didn't mindfully plan your meals? Are you reacting with panic every time the news mentions a potential recession because you're not mindful of your own emotional triggers? Mindfulness brings awareness. It's about being present when you're making financial decisions, no matter how small. Before you click buy, pause. Be mindful. Ask yourself, why am I buying this? Do I truly need it? Is this aligned with my financial goals? This simple pause, this moment of mindful awareness, can save you a ton of money and regret. It also applies to how you feel. When you feel that financial anxiety creeping in, be mindful of it. Notice the physical sensations, the racing thoughts. Don't judge them, just observe them. This detachment from the feeling of anxiety allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. And speaking of detachment, Stoicism talks a lot about detaching from external things, including material possessions. Again, this isn't about becoming an ascetic who owns nothing but a single robe and a flip phone. Though, hey, if that's your jam, it's about recognizing that your value, your happiness, and your security don't come from the stuff you own. Detachment is realizing that your fancy car could be totaled tomorrow, your expensive gadget could break, and your investment portfolio could fluctuate. When your happiness is tied to these external things, you're setting yourself up for constant worry. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to find value in internal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance, and in experiences and relationships. These are things that are far less likely to be taken away by external financial circumstances. Think about the joy you get from spending quality time with loved ones, learning a new skill, or experiencing nature. These things are often free or low cost, and they provide a deeper, more lasting sense of fulfillment than the temporary high of a new purchase. Practicing mindfulness around your spending and cultivating detachment from material outcomes helps you prioritize what truly enriches your life, not just what temporarily entertains you or impresses others. It's about building a life rich in meaning, not just rich in dollars and cents. Okay, so we've got the principles down. Now let's translate these high-level ideas into actual practical steps you can take right now to manage your money and find some peace. Practical Stoic techniques for financial management, putting it to work. All right, principles are cool, but how do we actually do this? How do we apply ancient philosophy to modern budgeting apps and online shopping carts? Let's get practical. Technique 1. Create a realistic budget, your financial GPS. A budget. Yeah, I know, that word can sound about as exciting as watching paint dry. But a Stoic budget isn't about deprivation. It's about bringing awareness and control to your spending. Remember that dichotomy of control. This is where you exercise it. A Stoic budget is realistic because it accepts your current financial situation. Principle 2. Acceptance. It starts by simply tracking where your money is actually going. Don't judge, just observe. Be mindful. Principle 3. Mindfulness. There are tons of apps, spreadsheets, or even just a notebook you can use. Track everything for a month. That $5 coffee every day? Write it down. The impulse purchase of a neon pink flamingo for your lawn at 2 a.m. Yeah, write that down too. Once you see where your money is going, you can make conscious decisions about where you want it to go, aligning your spending with your values and goals. This is where you apply your control. You can't control the price of gas, but you can control how often you fill up your tank, or if you carpool. A realistic budget isn't about cutting out all fun forever. It's about making intentional choices. Maybe you decide that saving for a down payment on a house is more important than eating out 5 times a week. Or maybe you budget for that one fun thing each month because you've mindfully decided it adds value to your life, but you cut back elsewhere. The key is to be honest with yourself, acceptance, and to use the budget as a tool for intentional living, not a financial straitjacket that makes you miserable. It's your roadmap to financial freedom, allowing you to direct your resources towards what truly matters to you in the long term. Principle 3, detachment, and later, long-term security. Don't aim for perfect, aim for progress and self-awareness. Technique 2, embrace a minimalist mindset, declutter your wallet and your life. This ties directly into detachment. Principle 3. Minimalism isn't about living in a sterile, empty box. It's about removing the excess, physical stuff, commitments, and yes, unnecessary expenses that drain your resources and distract you from what's important. Think about all the stuff you own but never use. That gadget graveyard in your closet, the clothes with tags still on. Each one of those represents money that could have been saved, invested, or used for something you truly value. A minimalist mindset encourages you to be mindful, Principle 3, about what you bring into your life. Before buying something, ask yourself, does this add genuine value to my life? Will I use it regularly? Is this purchase aligned with my values? Look for areas where you can simplify and reduce expenses. Do you really need every streaming service known to humanity? Could you save money by cooking at home more often? Can you find entertainment that's free or low cost, like hiking, reading, or spending time with friends? Embracing minimalism isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. It's about freeing up your financial resources and mental energy by decluttering your consumption habits. It reduces the keeping up with the Joneses pressure because you're no longer defining success by the accumulation of stuff. Your focus shifts to experiences, relationships, and personal growth, things that are far more resilient to economic ups and downs. Plus, let's be honest, less stuff means less to clean, less to organize, and less to worry about. That's a win for your wallet and your peace of mind. Technique 3. Invest in long-term financial security, thinking like a Stoic gardener. Stoicism is all about long-term thinking. It's about cultivating your inner garden for a lifetime, not just chasing a quick bloom. This applies perfectly to your finances. While you can't control the short-term ups and downs of the market, you can control your approach to saving and investing for the future. This isn't about getting rich quick schemes, which are often outside your control and driven by greed, not wisdom. It's about building a solid foundation for long-term security. This means prioritizing saving, even small amounts consistently. It means learning about responsible investing, understanding concepts like diversification and compound interest, and focusing on the long game rather than panicking about daily market fluctuations. Hello, dichotomy of control. A Stoic approach to investing is patient and disciplined. It's not driven by fear when the market is down or greed when it's up. It's driven by a rational plan based on your long-term goals and risk tolerance, focusing on what you can control: your savings rate, your investment strategy, and your emotional reactions to market volatility. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't plant it today and expect a full harvest tomorrow. You nurture it, water it, protect it, and over time it grows strong and provides shade and fruit for years to come. Your long-term financial security is like that tree. It requires patience, consistency, and a focus on the future, knowing that your consistent efforts today will pay off down the road. This provides a sense of stability and reduces anxiety about the future because you know you're actively working towards a more secure tomorrow, regardless of short-term economic noise. Okay, so we've got principles, we've got practical techniques. But let's be real, even with the best plan, financial worry can still creep in like a shadowy bill collector. How do we deal with that using our Stoic superpowers? Overcoming financial worry, a Stoic perspective, taming the beast. All right, the techniques are in place, but the monkey mind loves to chatter, especially about money. What if I lose my job? What if the market crashes? What if I never have enough? These thoughts can be relentless. Stoicism doesn't tell you to just ignore them. It gives you tools to deal with them head on. Tool 1. Identify and challenge negative thoughts, playing detective in your brain. Those worrying thoughts. The Stoics saw them as just thoughts, not necessarily reality. They are impressions. And you have the power to examine those impressions and decide if they are true and helpful. When a worrying thought about money pops up, don't immediately accept it as fact. Pause. Mindfulness. Identify the thought. Okay, I'm thinking, I'll never have enough money to retire. Now, challenge it using Stoic questions. 1. Is this thought about something I can control? Dichotomy of control. Is your ability to retire entirely outside your control? Probably not. You can control your saving, your spending, potentially your earning. 2. Is this thought based on objective reality, or is it just a fear? Is there concrete evidence you will never retire, or is this a worst-case scenario your brain is inventing? 3. What would a wise person or a Stoic think in this situation? Would they panic, or would they assess the situation and focus on actionable steps? 4. What is the worst-case scenario, and can I accept it if it happens? Stoics often contemplated negative possibilities, not to be morbid, but to build resilience. If the absolute worst happened, could you cope? Often, realizing you can cope, even in a terrible scenario, reduces the power of the fear. By questioning your negative financial thoughts, you start to see them for what they often are: unfounded fears or exaggerations based on things outside your control. You can reframe them. Instead of, I'll never retire, maybe the thought becomes, retirement feels challenging, but I can focus on saving consistently and exploring different options. It's a subtle shift, but incredibly powerful. You're taking back control of your internal narrative. Tool 2. Develop a resilient mindset, becoming financial Wolverine. Life throws curveballs. Financial life throws particularly nasty, fast-pitched ones sometimes. Jobs are lost, unexpected expenses pop up, investments dip. Stoicism isn't about avoiding these things. It's about building the resilience to handle them when they happen. Resilience in Stoicism isn't about being tough and emotionless. It's about being adaptable and bouncing back. It's about viewing challenges not as catastrophes, but as opportunities to practice your Stoic virtues. Courage in facing hardship, wisdom in making difficult decisions, temperance in managing your reactions. How do you build financial resilience? 1. Practice premeditatio malorum, premeditation of adversity. Regularly and calmly consider potential financial setbacks. What would you do if you lost your job? If you had a major unexpected expense? Thinking through these scenarios before they happen helps you create a mental action plan and reduces panic if they occur. It's like running fire drills for your finances. 2. Focus on your inner citadel. Your true security, stoically speaking, comes from your character and your virtues, not your external circumstances. Cultivating inner resilience means knowing that even if you lost everything external, you would still have your integrity, your knowledge, and your ability to learn and adapt. This is a profound source of strength. 3. Learn from setbacks. See financial difficulties not as failures, but as lessons. What can you learn from a budgeting mistake, from an investment loss? Every challenge is an opportunity to gain wisdom and improve your future financial decisions. A resilient mindset doesn't mean you won't feel disappointment or stress during financial hardship, but it means you'll be better equipped to navigate those feelings, learn from the experience, and bounce back stronger. Tool 3. Seek support and community. You don't have to go full Stoic hermit. While Stoicism emphasizes personal responsibility and inner strength, it doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself. Humans are social creatures, and navigating financial stress can be significantly easier when you have support. Talk to trusted friends or family members about your financial worries. You might be surprised how many people are dealing with similar issues. Sharing your struggles can lighten the burden and provide new perspectives. Consider joining financial communities, whether online forums, local groups, or even just finding an accountability partner. Learning from others, sharing tips, and feeling understood can be incredibly empowering. A Stoic recognizes the value of human connection and mutual support. While our inner peace is our own responsibility, we can still benefit from the wisdom and encouragement of others. Don't try to be a lone wolf when you're facing financial challenges. Build your Stoic squad. Find people who lift you up, share your values, and maybe even offer practical financial advice. Okay, we've covered the reality, the principles, the techniques, and how to tackle the worry itself. We're bringing this ancient wisdom into the modern financial battlefield. Finding financial peace in a crazy world. So let's wrap this up. Financial stress in 2025 is real, it's tough, and it can feel overwhelming. But as we've explored, Stoicism offers a powerful, practical way to navigate these challenges. It's not about magically making all your money problems disappear. It's about changing your relationship with money and with the things you can't control. By focusing on what's within your power, your spending, saving, learning, and reactions, accepting your current reality, practicing gratitude, being mindful, embracing detachment, and building resilience, you can dramatically reduce your financial anxiety and build a more stable, peaceful financial life. Remember, 1. You can't control the market, but you can control your spending and saving habits. 2. Accepting your situation isn't giving up. It's the starting point for change. 3. Gratitude for what you have reduces the desire for what you lack. 4. Mindfulness and detachment free you from impulse and the trap of consumerism. 5. A realistic budget and long-term thinking are your practical tools for stability. 6. Challenging negative thoughts and building resilience helps you weather financial storms. 7. Seeking support reminds you you're not alone. Your call to action is simple, but not always easy. Start practicing. Pick one Stoic principle or technique that resonated with you today and commit to trying it this week. Maybe it's tracking your spending mindfully for a few days. Maybe it's practicing gratitude for 3 non-monetary things every morning. Maybe it's catching a negative financial thought and challenging it. Just start somewhere. Financial well-being isn't about a magic number in your bank account. It's a journey built on conscious choices, inner strength, and a resilient mindset. And with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, you've got the tools to make that journey with more peace, control, and maybe even a little less stress-induced hair loss. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe for more ancient wisdom applied to modern problems, and let me know in the comments which Stoic technique you're going to try first. Until next time, stay mindful, stay resilient, and may your financial path be paved with intentional choices, not just pavement, because pavement is expensive.